SalesSheros, the podcast where we empower women in sales with top strategies, tips, and tricks to conquer the world of sales. I'm Angie.
Hey, Angie. I'm Ladonna. How was your sales weekend?
Hey, Ladonna. My sales week is good. Just end of month. So we're all just grinding and crushing. How about you?
Doing great. Yeah, things are really good. Mid-year, right? So we're cranking out a new level, kind of revamped, re-looked at everything. I always like to do that. I sat down with my sales manager and we kind of talked about where things are, where we want to close the year out, and what we're going to do next year. So if you have not, as a sales rep, checked in with yourself, stop and take a look at your business over the last 6 months and look at where you need pivots. That's a great thing to do this time of year. I have this funky little thing. If you're not watching the video, you don't know, but I had this funky little curl. I had to fix that. So today, that's the real here. I looked at myself in this video, and I was like, what's going on there? Today, we're diving into the world of data-driven sales strategies. We'll break down actionable how-tos, top tips, and tricks to ensure your success, because ultimately at SalesSheros, that's what we do. We empower women to kick ass in sales. So Angie, let's dive in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, to kick things off, I think let's talk about understanding your data. We have graduated from no data-driven sales back in the day when the Mary Kay or the Avon lady knocked on the door and then you just kind of hand wrote it on a piece of paper and then lost it in the kitchen, to now AI-driven sales, right? So we really want to understand our data today. What are we collecting? Where's it going? It's crucial to know all the metrics to focus on and just all of the information that will drive our sales strategies. And one thing, Ladonna, you and I both follow Gary Vee on Instagram. If no one's following him, we recommend you do so. And then, of course, we had a chance to see Kevin O'Leary at the Aspire conference, but they are both very, very big advocates of data analytics when it comes to sales, right? That is what they lead with. So Kevin O'Leary often says, if you know the preferences of your customers, when they're buying, what they're buying, where they're buying, their favorite flavor, their size, etc., it will completely change your sales world.
Yeah, for sure. So knowing your customers' preferences, behaviors, and purchase history allows you to customize your communication, making it more relevant and engaging, right? So ultimately, stories sell. If you don't know what your story needs to be, if you don't know your own story and you don't know the story of your customer, it's going to make that more challenging. So personalized interactions lead to better customer experiences, increasing satisfaction, increasing loyalty, and increasing really what Angie and I drop a lot, that trust factor. So I think oftentimes as independent sales reps, like I'm an independent sales rep, I don't necessarily always think I need to know the data analytics because I'm not selling cornflakes nationally, or I'm not selling something online, but I am showing up online. I do have a digital presence, and the more digital presence we have with a lot of the people that I sell to drive the specification of my products are now working from home. So I need to understand what their pattern is for selection process to be better at my job.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Understanding and analyzing a specific customer's data, it's really going to segment your audience and target them with specific marketing campaigns that you're putting together, right? You want to be more relevant to them. You want to resonate to each of those groups. So that obviously will lead to higher conversion rates, which ultimately is where we're all trying to get to. And the content will be more relevant to the prospect or the customer.
Yes.
To your point, they buy from who they know, like, and trust. Well, we want to sell to people we know. Because then we know what their pain points are when you're looking into all of that information.
Yeah. And I'll say this also, this is just kind of a caveat to this before I step into understanding those patterns, is that as a sales rep, I see this a lot. I'm on a team with, there's 15 total reps in my geography that's managed by one regional manager. And we're not marketers. We're not marketing reps. We're business development reps. We're people that are handling selling through a dealer base. And so oftentimes I think we as sales reps miss, and that your own LinkedIn and your own Instagram and your own Facebook is where you can drive these. You can understand the data of your client and you can take that into your own hands for your own region, right? My company is based in just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. So what is what is working in Atlanta, Georgia is different than what's working on the Pacific Northwest. So I have to personally understand the own data of the segments I'm calling on to do specific. So my point in this is that you can act as a marketing rep so much easier as a sales rep to help inspire more sales in your geography because there's so much more available through AI. So I know a lot of people are scared of AI, but there's a lot of information that can help you drive your own, like be your own personal marketer outside of just your company's marketing, because it doesn't always, it's a hard thing for a company's marketing department to tie directly into what's going on and what is needed in the Portland metro. Right.
And from a brand perspective, you brought up a good point. You're on a team with multiple people. How I sell is different than how the 6 other reps on my team sell.
Yes.
And we've got 3 of us in the same region. We're all different. Yes, we're covering different accounts. But to your point of you're differentiating your brand to align with the customers you're wanting to attract for the product that you're selling that can fill a void or fix a need, right? Solve their problem.
Yes. And I think that that's something that sometimes gets missed in corporate sales is teaching their sales team to actually do personal branding as well. You want to brand yourself personally. So that's just my own personal opinion, but I think there's a lot of value in that. So understanding patterns in customer data helps predict future behavior, enabling you to proactively address potential issues and retain your customers. I mean, that's huge, right? Retention, you put so much time and energy into doing a great service for a client. It turns into the sale. And then what are you doing to foster and mentor those relationships? Don't turn your back and walk away. Data analysis can identify your most loyal customers, allowing you to reward them and strengthen that loyalty. So that focus can be really huge. So using the data to support the focus of you strengthening those relationships is really powerful, especially in this day and age where people are still working remote, right? We have more remote work.
And we have more competition. And I think that data retention, to your point, is a big deal. I mean, in sales, it's all about increasing our efficiency and what we're doing. We're all stretched thin. We all have things going on. So analyzing the customer data will help identify high potential leads, optimizing the sales process, analyzing which will help reveal any bottlenecks in your process. That's a big one that I try to do. I try to look at, okay, how many outbound calls did I make prospecting last month? Where was I tied up? Where were the bottlenecks? Where was I hung up? My time is valuable. So I think making sure that we're streamlining some of those processes and revealing the bottlenecks and pivoting so we can course correct them. That's ultimately what we need to be doing, is improving the, efficacy of what our time is. To us, time is money, right?
Yes.
So everything we're doing in a day is taking us away from either talking about our product, selling our product, or doing something. So I think, removing bottlenecks and streamlining that is key.
Yes, and using that data to understand your customers better than your competitors allows you to offer superior products and superior services. So data analytics helps you stay ahead of market trends, enabling you to adapt quickly and maintain a competitive edge. It's huge.
Yeah, that is huge. And I know that also comes with understanding the purchase history. And you touched on this a little bit earlier, where we're talking about kind of following up after the purchase and making sure we're serving the customer well, is understanding their purchase history and preferences will allow us to really identify the opportunities for any cross-sell or upsell. And that's really important. So understanding the data ultimately will help us increase that revenue, which, let's face it, everyone, that's really why we're all in sales, right? We want to make the money, we want to increase our sales, and we want to get that time freedom.
Yeah, right. And we're right. Like I had touched on this when we first jumped into this, is like you're in the middle of being able to pull data from your own CRM or your own company right now. Like look at where you've sold, who are your top 6 accounts that you're selling to? Who are your top 6 accounts that you're calling on? Like pull the analytics that you have internally and reevaluate those things to see where you can strengthen that. I think that that's huge. So that's just a practical way you can apply what Angie and I were just talking about. Like pull your own personal data from your own company and look at where you're at with your people. So let's look at some key metrics to track, such as conversion rates, customer acquisition costs, customer lifetime value, and the sales cycle. So first, conversion rates, measure how many leads turn into customers, which helps you to assess and then the effectiveness of that sales process. The next is customer acquisition cost, CAC. Know the cost of acquiring a new customer to manage your budget and set your goals. That's huge.
So that's big. I mean, we're corporate, right? So it's a little bit different for us because we don't have to pay to acquire new customers, but we do have a lot of Sheros out there that have their own businesses and they do have to pay to acquire new customers. So knowing what that cost is and putting that budget together, I mean, that really can ultimately save you a lot of time, even on the marketing side, to say, if my vertical, I did all this research on the customer and my clientele is in, the space X, then I'm going to not market to space Y because everyone's in X. And you're managing your budget effectively. Like, that's great. That's not something we do on the corporate side, but I think all the entrepreneurs out there, you need to understand your customer acquisition cost for sure.
Yeah, totally. And then customer lifetime value, calculate the total revenue expected from a customer over their lifetime to prioritize high value prospects. That's huge. That one applies very directly to what I do. Like when I look at university, when I look at community colleges, when I look at county municipalities, who's going to have reorder of what I sell? Because I sell an interior finish, right? So if I'm selling to a commercial client that's going to replace this one time over the next 30 years, not that they're not a valuable customer, not that I don't love on them so that I can nurture them to get like potential leads for future things, but I need repeat buying customers, people that are doing work like rooms turns or whatever that is in your segment. For me, it's who's replacing commercial carpet.
So, wait, I do have a question for you. You're not going to stay in the carpet business for 30 years to go back to that same school and resell them? You'll be broke.
Yes, right? I mean, that's the reality, right? So you have to look at, one, those are really valuable clients because that can be a very large sell, right? A large commercial space with multiple floors that gets replaced once in 30 years could be a high revenue sell, but I do need to have repeat business. So that's where it lends into, like, for me, that would be school districts or like senior living facilities with rooms. I mean, whatever you're looking at, you want the repeat business, right? Like it's not bad to focus on both clients, but you really do want to nurture and take care of those repeat clients. So calculate that total revenue out of that, so you can know where to prioritize your time and your money.
Exactly. Prioritize time. As in corporate and the cyber side, we get a new account list. You come into a job, you get a new account list. That person before you might have already sold everything you possibly can sell into the people in your account list. So by knowing that customer lifetime value, how, when is it 3 years, 5 years, what did they sell? You don't want to waste your energy on those. You want to nurture, you want to grow, you want to build your brand with them because you don't know if they need something, but your focus won't be, okay, I'm gunning for them because they're a big brand and I'm just going to sell what I can sell. No. Hats off to the person before you that sold the big multi-year deal, right? And be thankful, like, okay, good job. I'm proud of you. We always want to wish everybody well. But then you're like, but I'm going to shift my focus to something else. So yeah, that customer lifetime value is really cool.
Huge. Yeah, right. Powerful. And then sales cycle length, track how long it takes to close a deal to identify any process bottlenecks. Because if you're bottlenecked, then you're not able to give the time to the customers who really can obtain a value from the service that you provide or the product that you're selling.
Yeah, those are totally great points, LaDonna. I'm glad you brought those up. Using CRM tools like Salesforce or HubSpot, we talk about those all the time. Those are ones that we use in our space, but they can make tracking and analyzing the metrics a complete, streamlined, breezy situation because they have reporting features built into those analytic tools, right? Those CRM tools. So it'll pull that data of a report for you, which is really helpful. Let somebody else do it for you. So let's look at data-driven sales strategies and how to use the data to shape your sales strategies. Let's show them that.
Yeah, here's some powerful strategies. One would be targeted outreach. Another would be personalized messaging. So targeted outreach is really taking your audience and segment that audience based on their behavior and their preferences and tailor your approach to meet their specific needs. So each client may need a different communication style, a different message, a different set of questions that you go in asking to gain the answers to how you can better service them. Personalized messaging, leverage insights from your data to craft messages that resonate with your audience, boosting engagement and also increasing closing rates.
Yeah, those are two really good ones. Two other powerful strategies are predictive analytics and performance tracking. So predictive analytics is using predictive analytics to forecast your sales trends and identify those high potential leads. So getting more into the financial side of that. Focus your efforts where they'll have the most impact. I think that's really important. Again, you know, as a sales rep, you want to take a look at your region or your account list or whatever your target is to meet your quota. And you want to really drill down into that list and prioritize it that way. And then, of course, performance tracking. You want to continuously monitor your own sales and metrics and adjust your strategies accordingly. So on the corporate side, when my sales are up, I'm like, okay, how was I successful and why? And when my sales are down, you want to look at, okay, where was there a gap in my process that I missed where I possibly could have lost that deal, right? And I think doing those regularly reviews of your personal conversion rates and the CAC and the CLV, like we just talked about above, that will help you definitely stay on top of your sales game.
Yes. And to remember to regularly review your CRM reports and dashboards, that keeps you informed and allows you to make data-driven adjustments. And I just want to speak to the CRM piece. If you have a CRM that isn't working for you personally within your company, like say your company has a CRM that you manage, but you maybe feel like you need something in addition to the CRM that they're providing. Like my husband is an agent in the same industry. And so we have a joint CRM that we use and it's called Mondays. That's the one he researched that he loved. And so it better sends out more personalized email for us to stay in communication when we have new launches on product. So in addition to my CRM that I'm going to be managing personally through my corporate business, my husband's agency has a CRM that I'm also a part of because it does a better job of email marketing in a more personalized way. So it doesn't feel spammy. And I needed that. So just know that as a sales rep, you do want to be reviewing your reports and dashboards, but you also want to be assessing whether maybe there's something that you need to add personally that will do something a little differently than what your company is asking for, because your company's tracking so they can track all the things on a larger scale. But is it working for you to sell into your territory? Evaluate that, and maybe you need to make a little bit of an investment on your own stuff personally. I'll just say that because we just walked through that.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point for a lot of people that are listening. They might not know how CRMs really work, but CRMs are basically the information tool that when you load all of your customer data, the company name, address, phone number, contact, email, you know, all the things about the company, and you load it into one site like Salesforce or HubSpot, and then that can give you reporting tools and all of the metrics, and then your sales can go through there. Some have quoting tools in them, but some of the ones, if you're not in corporate, because those are larger ones, they have the ones that have the outreaches attached to them. So an outreach tool is like LaDonna's point she just brought up, is you can craft templated emails and you can set up specific times when those drop and put sequences in play. So if you send a, "Hi, LaDonna, nice to meet you. I'm Angie with XYZ Company. Look forward to talking to you about my business." If she doesn't respond, I can program it to where in like 5 days, it'll send her something else. "Oh, I might have missed you," and it might went to the junk folder. So you can actually, again, comes back to AI and data-driven tools. Let these tools work for you. There's a reason why big, large corporate brands that have large sales organizations are buying these tools for their team. It's to streamline their back-end work so they're customer facing and selling. Did I get that right? Like being in front. So
100%, right? 100%.
Yeah, so that's a good one. Well, let's wrap up with some actionable tips and tricks to help you guys succeed. I think that's our favorite thing.
Absolutely. Like it is our favorite thing because we're inundated with information. You can be on information overload. So as a sales rep, don't get caught in that. And if you are caught in that, stop it. Get out of it. Like stop it right now. Take some action on something because sometimes education is a form of procrastination. Like realistically, like we can get caught in the loop if we need to learn and we need to be doing all this stuff and we need to do all this back end marketing. But as Angie said, if you're not front facing or at least forward facing, it might not be that you're in front of them physically, but if you can't be in front of them physically, then figure out how to use these data analytics to get in front of them digitally, because that's ultimately how you service your clients to be able to do
and
the
I
best
guarantee you this, if you're not doing this, your competitors are.
Absolutely.
So just remember, I don't care if you're selling lipstick. I don't care if you're selling automotive parts. I don't care what you're selling. If you are not in front of your customer in some capacity or your prospect, I guarantee you your competitor is. So,
Yes.
you know, I know it's overwhelming when we start talking about all these sales tools and what to do, but you have to think of what will work for you and what you have the capacity. I am a visual learner. I don't
Yes.
like to just sit and read books and manuals. So I like to Google things that are quick, that show me a video, teach me something new, and then I can move on. But that still can be overwhelming. So that's why when we pick some of these tips and tricks, we specifically tailor them to what works for me and what works
Yes.
for your learning style, which is also
Yes.
totally different. So yeah.
Yes, 100%. So set data-driven goals, establish clear goals based on your data to keep you and your team, if you have a team, focused and accountable. So I love SMART goals. You can Google that, SMART goals. That's a really great way to set goals around your data driven, you know, the things you're discovering with the data that you're learning about. So embrace continuous learning, but don't get caught. Like I just said, embrace continuous learning. You want to stay ahead of the curve, but don't get caught in learning so much that you're not actually taking action on the things that need to happen. Stay updated on the latest sales technologies and data analytic tools to keep yourself sharp. And Angie, what do you have for us on that?
Yeah, I just have two kind of actionable tips. One is definitely leveraging social proof. And you want to use data to showcase case studies and success stories. Now, this is tricky because everyone's like, oh, I don't want to reuse someone else's content, or I saw this online, but I don't want to use it. So remember, when we're going back to like third grade, book report, if you're referencing a book report, just reference who wrote it. Just reference the person, right? And the context it was in. So, you know, it's okay to highlight how others have benefited from your product and service. Now, in my world, I can't put a logo on my website and say, oh, I work with XYZ company without their approval. So don't go do something like that. We're not saying that. But if you build your own case studies and build your own success stories, and you can say, Bob, are you okay with me sharing on LinkedIn how this helped you? Or would you do a quick 30-second video or whatever? Or Google it, right? Google, if your product, let's go back to lipstick. If you're working for a company and you're selling lipstick, you already have reviews online, most likely, of how good your lipstick is. Does there moisturizer in it? Is it soy-based? So utilize that information. So social proofing is getting that data out to your customers and prospects.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I use. The second one is definitely optimizing your sales funnel. And we talk about sales funnels a lot because that is how we want to load in the customers for our business. So regularly analyze and streamline your sales funnel to address inefficiencies and shorten the sales cycle. So again, I know it sounds like we're telling you to sit in front of data and analyze all of it, but there's systems that can do that for you, I promise.
Yes. Yes. So don't forget to use A/B testing to experiment with different strategies and find out what works best for your audience and for you, right? Like if it's not working for you, don't use it, but be smart about researching to see what is available and trying some things to be ahead of the curve, because we are constantly evolving and there is so much more information available. Like you have information at your fingertips. There's information to do. I mean, you could probably be your own mechanic, right? Like literally, like.
Actually, I think I almost have. YouTube is amazing for that.
Yeah.
Changing your tail lights by yourself.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a great, this was kind of a short and sweet one. Data analytics is important to all of us, and having those data-driven sales strategies is important. So that's all for today's episode of SalesSheros. We hope that you found these data-driven strategies helpful and you're excited to apply some of them into your current sales game.
Definitely subscribe to SalesSheros for more empowering content and share this episode with your network if you enjoyed it.
Yay. Until next time, everybody, keep shining and selling like the incredible SalesSheros you all are.